Hi everyone, thank you for joining me today on our Simply Synergist webinar. I hope that you can see my screen clearly enough, and I also hope that you can hear me clearly enough. I have got a bit of a video running in the background, so don't worry if that's a little bit slow. But if you could just pop something in the chat box to let me know that you can hear me. Okay, I'm just going to wait a couple of seconds to get something through. And if you can hear me all nice and clearly, I will continue. So I'm just going to wait a couple of seconds. If you can hear me, if you could just pop something in, that would be amazing. Okay, I've had a few through that you can hear me, so I will continue with today's webinar. I'd like to start by introducing exactly who we are and what it is that we do. I'm sure by the name you've gathered that the webinar is very much around Synergist, the project management system. I'm from a company called The Agency Works. We are the exclusive UK partner of Synergist, so we work very closely with all of our clients. We implement the system, we also train people how to use the system, and we also have ongoing support of things such as ongoing training, also general day-to-day support and some webinar type support as well. We are also we also work very closely with our clients around business process. So we not only implement the system, but we also work very closely alongside of them on some of their challenges. So we really look at why an agency may want to be moving to a system like Synergist, and we try to work out exactly what the best way to configure the system will be to help them, and also what type of reports and visibility they're needing to get out of the system. When we've identified the challenges, what they need, what type of visibility they need within their business, whether it be for growth or whether it be to free up time just to be more creative and do the things that you love doing. It may also be to do things like reduce over servicing, or to find out, where can we increase utilization within the business. There's so many different reasons that people look at software. It may even be just to increase organizational aspects of the business. So they're the type of aspects that we work with agencies on, and we implement a system bespoke around that change management to ensure the changes that are being made within the business are all nice and streamlined within the software and also with the processes alongside. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use Synergist as an example. On the page in front of you, this is just us at the Agency Works, and we've got Lenny, the meet and greet dog. And the rest of the time, I am going to be using Synergist today to show you through. So I'm going to start by showing you some of our dashboards. Now, the dashboards within the system are where you're going to gain some of that live, day-to-day, weekly type visibility that's really important for general health checks, you could describe it as. So here you've got three dashboards actually. So you've got your sales dashboard, management dashboard. You've also got a personal dashboard. The sales dashboard is where you'd be looking at initial stages within the business. So you could input the available hours in which you have to sell as an agency, and then you can start ensuring that you are selling those hours in which you have available. What you can also do is you can start tracking your pipeline stages. So that's really useful. If you need to sell more hours than you have available as a bit of a backup, then you can look at your pipeline and you can start saying, okay, well, we've actually got quite a few agencies that are in negotiation, that we are in negotiation with. So let's try and get those pushed through and ensure that we are selling the hours available. One of the quite key aspects that comes up when discussing this with our clients is that they do have challenges such as over servicing. So if we know that we're selling the number of hours in which we have available, what we need to do is ensure that we can charge for those, and actually we're not selling the hours in which we have available, but then we're over servicing our accounts. So this initially, if we know we're selling those hours, it will help to reduce some of that over servicing, because also if we're not selling the hours, our staff members, so all of our resource, they will spend time doing the work that is in front of them. They're not going to sit there and if there's no work in front of them, not do anything. They'll just continue to work on the accounts that they've got in front, in which case that could lead to over servicing as well. We've also got a billings forecast. So this is a really nice cash flow type forecast where we can see what we plan to bill, also what we have billed. And it may be that I've included our opportunities within here. So we're looking almost a bit like a cash flow forecast as to what potential revenue will we be, what potential value will we have coming into the business, and actually when do we plan to bill for it as well. And we can see that the planned I've got that set monthly, and you can obviously adjust when you're looking at that as well by these columns here. The next area is targets. So for those of you that are interested in the new business sales targets, I'll just quickly summarize this. So you can put targets against the handlers, you can put value, and then you can track how much of that value. Again, this is a live updated health check. You'll be able to see the percentage bar either hopefully increasing at the right speed for those individuals. The next area that I want to move on to is the opportunities list. So just to quickly summarize, you've got everything within Synergist. That is one of the main reasons that agencies will use the system. It may be that they've previously used a number of different tools, or that they have used manual systems, and having everything all in one place. So you've got your CRM, you've got your pipeline type tracking, which you can see in front of you here. You've also got your budgeting, you've got your scheduling, time recording, invoicing, and your reporting. Having all of that in one place not only helps to reduce things like duplicating, but it also makes your data and your reporting a lot more clean and accurate. I'm actually, just to give you guys a bit of something to do, I'm just going to release a poll because I'd love to get a bit more information on all of you. And I'm also really interested to know whether you are actually currently looking for a system, or is it something that you have just joined to keep your eyes peeled, or is it that you received the email, in which case, no, it just caught my attention, is the one to select. So I'll just wait 2 seconds to see what we've come back as. And okay, and I'm going to close. Okay, that's great. Thank you so much, all of you. And then I've just got one more question, and this will be very based around what you're using at the moment. So are you using the system at the moment? Again, really, really interesting information if you could answer. So it may be that you're using another project management system and you're possibly having some challenges, or if you are using a number of different tools, like I said, that is one that most people that we have inquire around Synergist, or that actually end up implementing the system, have gone from using a number of different tools because they want it all in one place. So I'll focus very heavily on that today as well. Or you may just be using Excel or manual paper based. So I think we have got plenty of those submitted. So thank you very, very much for those. Okay, so to continue with today's webinar, a lot of you answered that you're using a number of different tools. So what I'll do is I'll try and implement that into today's presentation, and I'll explain some of the benefits of having it all in one place. So this here is your initial CRM aspect of the system. So this is where you can start tracking your opportunities. An opportunity within the system is a job at quote stage. So if you have a number of quotes out, you may want to start tracking when you expect for those to close. You may also want to track your pipeline stages against those, so where you're at with them. We've also got waiting values. A lot of you may already be using this type of thing. One of the benefits of having it within Synergist and having it all in one place is you can start looking at potential value coming into the business, also potential capacity coming into the business. You can also track live capacity and live value. So when I looked at that billings forecast, it may be that we look at potential value coming into the business versus the actual value. So we might also want to combine the two. The weighting values are the chances you think you have of winning each of them. Again, when reporting, just to add to that accuracy, especially if you are trying to grow the business or if you are trying to, increase in a particular service perhaps that you offer, you can start saying, okay, we might have a long list of opportunities. Adding those weighting values, we could have a job worth, say, 20,000, but actually at this stage, we've only got 50% chance of winning it, in which case we only want to see 50% of the value in our forecasting. Otherwise, it's a slightly unrealistic and a bit inaccurate, and it could give us a false reading to value coming in. So each one of these opportunities will also have their own individual job card, and this is where you will be able to use things like templates. The aim here, so not only having all of the different features in the system, but this is where you would have all of the information regarding one particular job stored in this one place. So you can see you've got all of the tabs along the top. You've got your financial information, you've got your estimate, you've got your quote, you've also got things like billing plans for cash flow forecasting. You've got activities where you can log communication regarding the job. You've also got attachments, as I'm sure you all know, attachments where you can attach files. On the estimate and the quoting area, I just want to show you this example. This is a very brief example. It's very customizable. If you want to discuss how we could structure this for you specifically afterwards, please do obviously get in touch with me, and I can be more than happy to build something bespoke for you. Each one of these, we're saying, what resource do we need? How long do we need them for? Each have got a cost and a charge rate. This has then given us our gross profit margins. Now, one thing that's slightly different about Synergist, and hopefully this will also work in line with your processes, is that we have the separate quote. So your estimate should be your internal budget based on the client's brief, and your quote is your commercial, what are we actually going to sell this for? It may be that you just copy it across, sell it for the value that you estimated. If you are wanting to add any discount or potentially add value, then you would do it within your quoting area. The only time you wouldn't, and the only time you'd update your estimate, is if it's a lesser job, or if you are going to add more hours to the job, and charge for those, of course. If not, we want to keep this estimate as accurate as possible, because we might be, I'll use this one, we might be, we've estimated, so we need 40 hours of a creative director. We might only be selling that for 30 hours, but we still need 40 hours. And in our capacity plans, especially if we're trying to grow, we need to know that actually we are going to need 40 hours of a creative director. Otherwise, it gets to that stage where we're over capacity and we're trying to frantically get freelancers in to help us last minute. Whereas doing it this way, your scheduling, resource management is really nice and accurate throughout. You've also got your Gantt facility within this card, where you can start planning things like, in the prep, we may have 100 hours estimated. Well, how long have we actually got to do those 100 hours? Have we got 1 week? Have we got 1 month? Have we got 2 months? So we can really start putting durations against them. We can also use the dependencies. We can also use things like milestones. So if we've got something from the client that we need signing off, which means we can't proceed with the next stage until it's signed off, then we may want to add a milestone. We can actually PDF this and present it to the client as well. So not only does it help us from an internal organizational aspect, it will also help the client, and it will be a nice kind of, I guess, a nice aspect of that visibility for the client as well. Another thing we can do, so if you are using a number of different tools, or actually even if you are using potentially a different system, or if you are using spreadsheets, one thing that you could possibly have a challenge with is having the estimate then transfer over to the scheduling. So it's all well and good doing our estimate nice and accurate to help reduce things like over servicing, but now we need to transfer that over to the studio nice and accurately as well, to make sure it all runs nice and smoothly through. So what we can do is we can actually book it into the calendar from here. If I say book into calendar, it will automatically take us to our scheduling tool, which looks something like this. And at the bottom, it's now got the hours ready to schedule. And this is a bit like an interactive drag and drop, nice and easy to use whiteboard. At the top, we've got our resource. I've broken it down into two different teams. And here, I'll just show you an example. If I drag and drop that onto Mike to do today, it will take 8 hours out of our estimated and leave 32 remaining. Mike will then have that in his own individual calendar. So he's got that in his own individual calendar. He can mark that, and you can see you've got some emojis dotted around. These are saying, is it in progress? Is it completed? Is more time required? It's just so everybody knows exactly what is going on at any one time on a live basis. Also, for Mike himself, as one of our either designers or developers, so one of our creative team or studio team, he's also got the ability to let everyone know exactly, what he's working on, or whether he is stalled on something, or perhaps he's finished something and he's ready to receive, he's got availability to have something else dropped onto him. So for the whole business, this is a really, really nice hub to see things like availability and what everyone's working on. You can also use this view, which is incredibly useful to get a quick glance of, I guess, capacity really. So what we're doing is we're saying the green, we've got availability still. The amber, fully booked. We can't book any more onto, say, John in this example here. And then Frankie has actually been overbooked for the Tuesday at 7 hours. It may be that Frankie only works 5 hours on a Tuesday. So we've actually overbooked her, in which case we'll be able to go into that in detail and move some time around to somebody who, as we can see very clearly, has got availability. So the next area that I would like to show you, if we're trying to keep a nice clean process, is the calendar. So here is where we're able to, as individuals, see what's been booked to us, and we're then also able to record time. So if I say quick timesheet, and let's say that we've done 2 hours, and we might want to also add some notes, we would okay that. That would get posted against the job, and this is what then brings me to our job tracking. I've gone slightly over, guys. I'm ever so sorry. I'm nearly done, I promise. I just want to quickly show you this and some of the reporting, and then obviously we can go into more detail on a one-to-one basis if you're interested afterwards. So this area here is your job tracking. You've got your thermometer bars, which are now showing us how far through the budget are we, and we're able to start saying, okay, well, if we're 50% of the way through the budget, let's say we've estimated 100 hours, 50 have been recorded, we're 50% of the way through our budget. What we can do is we can go in and say, are we actually 50% of the way through our budget? Or is it that the client has moved the goalpost? Or did we use a different resource? Or was there some human error? Whatever the reason is, we can identify that. We can also start spotting patterns, whether that be on resource, on job types, on particular clients, or maybe on resource as well. And using a system like this, having it all in one place, will give you the ability to just gain that type of visibility. If you are trying to grow, or if you are trying to reduce over servicing, or increase heads, or free up some time to do other services, or to be more creative and have a nice relaxed culture within the business, then this is the type of visibility that you need, and these are the type of processes that you need to be thinking about having in place, or at least trying to integrate together, because it may be that you've got some really good processes, but if they aren't integrated together, it is hard to gain visibility. I just want to also show you our management dashboard, where you've got some really nice quick flash views of visibility. So we've got our financial summary, which we're just keeping track of turnover, gross profit, also any age WIP that's in the system. We've got our billings forecast. This is where we, again, very similar to the previous dashboard that we looked at, perhaps we want to disinclude the opportunities, so the potential value, and actually just look at what we plan based on live jobs and then what we are invoicing. We've also got staff utilization, so we can do this by team. There are further reports where we can look at it by individual as well. So we might see that one individual, it's quite, with this resource has got a higher charge rate and they're not utilized to the extent that you would like them to be, in which case perhaps we could, look at all of the other individuals, see where we could possibly increase their chargeable time. And this will affect not only obviously our top line profits, but also it will increase the utilization of the business as a whole, hopefully. The top clients. So this is an incredibly useful flash health check. It may be, I'm going to use actually an example of this where we've gone into many, many agencies that have been using Synergist for a good couple of months or a few months, and they're starting to get some really good data out of it. And this is where you start identifying the most eye-opening type things that you don't necessarily expect. A lot of the stuff I'm sure is happening, but having it, an instant click is always useful. So you might have a client that you're really, really busy with all the time. Everybody knows who they are. They're always giving you work. You're always, doing work for them. But if they're not appearing within our top 5 most profitable, that might be a bit of a red flag as to say, okay, why aren't they? Because everyone knows who they are. We're always doing work for them. They should be one of our most profitable. If not, then we need to start investigating that. And is it because we're over servicing their account, or is it because we're not charging them the same as all of our other clients? I know we do have things like client-specific charge rates available. We also, just to note, have multi-currency also available within the system. Question I get asked a lot. And we can also look at things like top 10, and it may be that we start seeing some new clients appearing within here, in which case let's embrace that. Let's look into them and let's see what services we offer. Could we offer them other services? Could we actually embrace this and grow these clients that are clearly becoming very profitable to us as a business? So it's given us that overview, flash view, but then we have got further reports where we can go in and kind of, I guess, dig a bit deeper. I hope that has given you a really nice overview of the system. I've just got another quick poll to launch. It's just whether you would like to be contacted after or not. Don't worry, we're not the type of business that will pester you. But if you would like me to contact you afterwards about the system, please feel free to say yes, please. And I'm more than happy to give you a call. I'm also more than happy to set something up based on what you've seen today on a bespoke level. And really work with you guys on your challenges and find out how we could, as a business, help you guys as a business. So unfortunately, thank you ever so much, by the way, for everybody that's answered that. Those that have said yes, please, I'll be sure to get in touch with you as soon as possible. It's probably going to be either tomorrow afternoon, I'll hope to reach you. If you do have questions in the meantime, you should be sent my contact details anyway, so please feel free to drop me an email. Thank you ever so much, everybody, for joining. I hope that you found it useful, and I certainly hope to get to know your agencies a little better and speak to you in the near future. So thank you ever so much, and I will speak to you soon.